this tutorial, you will learn about the one bone and 9 cartilages that provide structure to the larynx. There is one bone and there are 9 cartilages of the larynx. By the end of this tutorial, you should be able to locate and describe each. The only bone in the larynx is the hyoid bone. The hyoid bone makes the superior border of the larynx, so anything above it is not considered to be part of the larynx. The hyoid bone is the only free-floating bone in the human body, meaning that it does not directly connect to any other bones. This is important because this free-floating nature allows the bone to be pulled in several different directions depending on the task. The hyoid is a U-shaped bone that is open posteriorly, similar to the cartilages of the trachea, and you will be learning about many of the muscles that attach to the hyoid bone. There are 3 major landmarks of the hyoid bone: the corpus, or main body portion of the bone, the greater horns, and the lesser horns. The fancy term for horn is cornu, so you may also encounter the word cornu in your readings. Horn is the same as cornu. Take a moment to look at figure 36.5 in your atlas and label the 3 landmarks of the hyoid bone. The first cartilage we will learn about is also the largest cartilage of the larynx. The thyroid cartilage is made up of hyaline cartilage, which provides both strength and a little flexibility. The thyroid cartilage is open posteriorly, sound familiar, and is shaped like a large shield. Look at figure 37.18 in your atlas, as well as reading number 6, to study the landmarks of the thyroid cartilage and label them on your notes outline handout. Locate the laryngeal prominence, superior horn, or cornu, inferior horn, or cornu, and the oblique line. Also, please take a moment to think about the differences between the 4 horns you've heard about so far. Note that the hyoid bone had 2 horns, a greater and a lesser. The horns on the hyoid bone differ in size. Now note the 2 horns on the thyroid cartilage. There's a superior horn and an inferior horn. These horns differ primarily in their orientation. One goes up and one goes down. The next cartilage is the cricoid cartilage. The cricoid cartilage is the only completely closed cartilage of the airway, meaning that it makes a complete circle and closes posteriorly. It is also made of hyaline cartilage and is shaped like a signet ring. You will always be able to tell the anterior from posterior portion because the cricoid cartilage is taller in the back. The cricoid cartilage has 2 landmarks to notice, which are both facets. Recall from our study of the vertebral column that a facet is a smooth surface where bones, or now cartilage, will touch each other at a joint. Refer to figure 37.19 in your atlas and reading number 6 to locate the articular facets for connections to the thyroid cartilage on the sides and the arytenoid cartilages on the posterior superior surface. The next cartilage is a paired set. There are 2 arytenoid cartilages within the larynx. The arytenoid are critical to the functioning of the larynx because this is where the true vocal folds will attach as well as how they will move. More on movement next week. The 2 arytenoid cartilages are also made of hyaline cartilage and are pyramid-shaped. They sit on top of the cricoid cartilage, atop the articular facet on the posterior superior surface. The 2 landmarks to notice on the arytenoid cartilages are the processes. Recall that a process is an extension off of the main portion of a structure. The muscular process is located posteriorly and laterally and is where several muscles will attach. The vocal process is located anteriorly and medially and is where the vocal folds will attach. Refer to figure 37.20 in your atlas and reading number 6 to locate these landmarks. The corniculate cartilages are also a paired set. There are 2 corniculate cartilages within the larynx. The tiny corniculates, also made of hyaline cartilage, rest atop the arytenoid cartilages and provide additional structural support to the larynx. Also see figure 37.20 in your atlas and reading number 6 to locate these cartilages. I like to remember the name of these based on their shape. I imagine them looking like a small piece of candy corn sitting on top of the arytenoids. Their cornucopia shape helps me remember the name corniculate. Another tiny paired set of cartilages in the larynx are the cuneiform cartilages. These are free-floating cartilages that lend structural support. They do not directly connect to any of the other cartilages or bones of the larynx. They are embedded into the aryepiglottic folds. The aryepiglottic folds are bands of tissue that help to define the larynx. More on those next week. For now, you should be able to locate the cuneiform cartilages in a superior view of the larynx like these. See reading number 6. They are the bumps located just laterally to the corniculate cartilages. The last cartilage of the larynx is the epiglottis. The epiglottis comes from the Greek word epi, meaning on top of or near, and the root word glottis, referring to the vocal folds. The epiglottis is the only cartilage of the larynx that is not made of hyaline cartilage. Instead, the epiglottis is made up of elastic cartilage. This elasticity allows the epiglottis to be very flexible, like your outer ear, which is important when it gets bent over backwards during swallowing. The epiglottis is leaf-like in shape, and it helps to protect the airway during swallowing by flipping over on itself. The epiglottis connects to the inside of the thyroid cartilage and back of the hyoid bone by ligaments. The top of the epiglottis peers over the top of the hyoid bone. The epiglottis also lends support to the framework of the structure of the larynx. Take a moment to look at the pictures of the larynx on this screen. Can you locate the following structures? The thyroid cartilage, its superior horn, inferior horn, oblique line, the epiglottis, the arytenoid cartilages, the muscular process, vocal process, the cricoid cartilage. See its two facets to articulate with the hyoid bone and arytenoid cartilages, the hyoid bone, greater cornu, lesser cornu, the corniculate cartilages,